What's the scene? It's Memorial Day. He's just been put in contact with what he takes to be the sort of guiding nerve of his namesake boy uncle's life. It's a dark and miserable night. He's got the Aeneid inscribed in his hand, and he sits under the flag which can't be seen. And it really is kind of, as Amy said, a kind of Francis Scott Key moment for him. And he says, the experience of that night coming so overwhelmingly to a man so dead almost rent me in pieces. It was the same feeling that artists know when we rarely achieve truth in our work, the feeling of union with some great force, of purpose and security, of being glad that we have lived. For the first time, I felt the pull of race and blood and kindred, and felt beating within me things that had not begun with me. It was as if the earth under my feet had grasped and rooted me, and were pouring its essence into me. I sat there until the dawn of morning, and all night long my life seemed to be pouring out of me and running into the ground. I mean, the end is especially strange to me. It sounds as if he's dying. I mean, he's losing his life's blood, right, and is turning into a plant. I mean, that is to say, well, I mean, that the image is that he is now rooted like his namesake uncle's tree, standing in the same ground, and like the flagpole beneath which he's sitting as well.
But you need roots in order to live. A plant needs roots in order to live. And this is not he is not describing his death, he's describing his rebirth.
Let's go with this roots and soil concept for a second. It's often said that America isn't a nation founded on the notion of roots and soil, blood and soil, but rather a nation that's founded on ideas and ideals. Does this suggest that Cather has another view of that? How are we to understand this particular scene in relation to this larger question of ideas versus roots?
Yeah, whenever you emphasize blood, race, and kindred,
right,
that doesn't sound particularly American.
Right.
It could be German, it could be anything. And we pride ourselves in the fact that principles do inform us. But I think in this case, it is that attachment, that emotional attachment, which Cather also points out, which stories in general point out, that's as necessary for the attachment to the nation as those principles. And in this case, the story happens to be a story that enables him to find meaning in his own patriotism. And the patriotism, as I said, is informed by the principles of the Republic. So while he emphasizes blood, race, and kindred, I think you cannot simply separate it from the fact that it's the Star-Spangled Banner that he looks to, that it's the federal flag that he draws, and all that stands for.
Right, so that this is blood which has been spent or sacrificed for a cause, the cause of union, and union as represented by this flag. So it does seem to me that he's really achieved a kind of coming together of blood and the ideas.
Right.
The principles by themselves, I don't think, are enough to attach anybody. And there are lots of people who could affirm these principles and who can live elsewhere and who might be sympathetic to America. But really, to belong depends not only on embracing those principles, it's a necessary but not sufficient condition. It depends, I think, on being attached to the history of the people who've lived their life under those principles and have struggled and sacrificed to preserve them and to perpetuate them. And in this particular case, what he sees is that it's his own personal legacy, not only in family ties, but also in the very name that he carries. These are lives that have in fact been spent to protect and preserve not just the principles, but the entire way of life and the people who live under those principles.